So hey guys, Bart Carny is the 12th episode of Season 9 of The Simpsons. It originally aired on January the 11th, 1998. It was directed by Mark Kirkland and written by John Swartzwelder. It also mentions Homer's triple bypass, the last episode I reviewed. Weird. It also features the late Jim Varney as Cuda. The plot follows Homer and Bart, and after Bart destroys Hitler's car, the two must become carnies in the travelling carnival to help repay the damages. There also isn't any B-plot. It's a pretty wacky plot overall, with over-the-top jokes. So let's dive deep into Bart Carny's plot. I think the plot for Bart Carny is really well woven, and it is paced in a way that really feels organic and new. The episode starts with Marge trying to get Santa's little helper to go toilet, but the garden is a big mess. She forces the lazy Bart and Lisa to clean it up, but they give up pretty easily. I really get Bart in this role, but Lisa? I feel like Lisa would be someone who'd care about the well-being of Santa's little helper. I mean, the dude literally can't go to the bathroom at the moment. The carnival arrives in town and Lisa and Bart want to go. Marge is against it, but Homer has the dough. I guess the carnival arriving is the inciting incident. You could argue it comes later with Bart crashing Hitler's car, but I think I'd say it's this because the carnival and the carnies act as a sort of new world that the Simpsons aren't familiar with. They go to the fair and eventually meet Cuda and Spud. I like that they meet them before the crashing of Hitler's car. Makes the plot feel way more organic and it flows supremely well. Bart then of course crashes Hitler's car. This acts as plot point 1 and dives us into act 2 of the story. Bart and Homer do some tasks for the rich Texan until they are asked to run Cuda's ring toss game. Now I think one could argue that this is actually plot point 1 as the central conflict in the episode is with these two characters and not say the rich Texan. But I don't know, it's not really a big deal. Wiggum tries to bribe Homer, but Homer is too dumb to understand and Cuda and Spud's ring toss game is taken away. This serves as the midpoint, or the no return point. Homer is burdened with the guilt of what happened to Cuda and Spud, so he decides to bring them back home, and they both gross out the Simpsons family. Cuda gives them some tickets for a glass-bottomed boat as thanks, and the family arrive home after the boat trip to see the house has been boarded up. Well, actually they don't. They only somehow see the house is boarded up until Homer's key doesn't unlock the door. This might be a major nitpick on my part, but this actually enraged me so much, as even the audience can see the house is boarded up before the Simpsons figure it out. Call me a nitpicker all you like, but why couldn't the reveal have been them arriving at the house in their car and seeing all the windows boarded up? This option feels like it wouldn't have enraged me so much. Cuda reveals that the house is his, and this acts as our plot point 2, effectively shipping us into the third and final act. I can't recall the first time I watched this episode, and I knew when rewatching it that the reveal was coming up, but it was still quite shocking. It's a very shocking turn of events. I don't know how surprised I was when I first saw it, because I would have been really damn young. But for this father and son to turn on the kindness the Simpsons gave them is very harsh and makes them out to be real scumbags. The Simpsons tried to get help from the police, and they really nicely tie back to the bribe scene from Wiggum. This is what I meant by the plot being well woven. The events connect to each other really well. They live in the treehouse for a bit until Homer figures out the ring toss plan. Homer absolutely japes the Cudas, and the family run into the house. This scene is obviously the climax of the story, and man, is it a great damn scene. I think what makes this scene so good is all the tension they build. Homer stretching, shots of the family being paranoid. For Homer to just drop the hula hoop and run is hilariously clever but so simple at the same time. Again, this ties really nicely back to Act 1. Homer's first interaction with Cuda was him scamming Homer, so it's great to see our antagonists get what they deserve. The resolution is of course the Simpsons having their house back, and Homer firmly putting his ass groove back into place to the song Groove Me by King Floyd. Nice. I think the plot overall is almost perfect. I say almost, but honestly I don't have any major issues with the structure or pace. I have nitpicks with certain aspects of the episode, that's for sure. But honestly, that moment with the hula hoop over the chimney might be one of my favourite scenes of all time in the entire show. Every time I watch it, I want to cheer. I really don't have much more to say overall about the plot, so let's move on to the jokes. I think this episode has some jump the shark humour. Humphrey the talking camel is one of them. It may be sort of funny, but it really ruins the submersion and the realism of the show. It's a joke I expect Family Guy to make. A talking camel is one thing, but one with a hat? I feel a similar way about this tiny horse. It feels like another Family Guy joke to me. When I said the carnival acted as a strange new world for The Simpsons, I wasn't really wrong. This crass cigarette joke with Cuda is another of these jokes. When he pulled that cigarette out his ass, I didn't laugh, I just questioned it. However, I don't think this episode ultimately fails at humour. There are really funny moments. Ice Cream Man is honestly my favourite. It paints Homer as an idiot, but I don't mind it. Homer overall is pretty solid in this episode. Telling Marge to go to the bathroom in the back garden, him with that giant comb, the what about refunds joke. I really like the yard simulator joke too. Again, it makes the plot feel really woven together tightly. It's also painfully ironic. Marge rarely has her stupid moments, but her wanting a window in the bottom of the car is hilariously dumb. Overall, I think this episode does a great job at delivering jokes that stick. I find some of them a little frustrating, but still, I didn't find myself not smiling or laughing for very long. Honestly, the only jokes I found kinda meh were the jokes delivered by Cuda or Spud. Let's take a look at these two new characters. It's undoubtable that Cuda and Spud are the main antagonists of this story. Sure, you could say the rich Texan is at first, but it wasn't like Bart and Homer didn't want to be carnies. Cuda and Spud are portrayed in a fairly negative light, but I do feel sorry for them in some regard. Homer's stupidity did cause their home and business to be taken away, but they were clear scam artists, so maybe they deserved it? I don't exactly feel sorry for Cuda at least, maybe Spud, because bribery and scamming aren't exactly great moral ways to make your money. But I do get him. We know that his family for generations haven't been particularly wealthy. His family literally came to the States by clinging on to the Mayflower. Maybe this is me being a little too PC, but I feel like the episode's view on the travelling community isn't great. Not that I think the episode should be cancelled or banned for this, but it's clear that we're meant to laugh at these people. I think the episode could have potentially made Cuda and Spud not so despicable people. The ring toss being rigged is one thing, but I don't know. They are shown as really icky people with absolutely no moral values. The Carny code was all a lie after all. I like Cuda and Spud overall, though. I think they act as great villains. Cuda's line at the end of the episode, "We were beaten by the best," gives the impression that he's a man of dignity. He does not bang on the door or try to sneak back or even get upset. He's just impressed that Homer outgrifted him. Homer feeling sorry for them at the end is understandable. I mean, this father and son are literally homeless now. Homer gets a really good portrayal in the episode. Him tricking Cuda and Spud was generally quite impressive. Homer actually learns something by the end of this episode. Sure, it's how to scam someone, but still. There isn't anything new we see of Homer in this episode. It's a standard problems occur, it must be solved type of story. But I do feel that Homer is ever more present in this story compared to Bart, who really doesn't deserve his name in the title. I feel they could have done more with Bart. He really does take a back seat after destroying Hitler's car. I think overall the characters in this episode are okay. Not amazing, but okay. We don't learn anything new about our established characters, but we do get two interesting new antagonists instead. Oh, and Humphrey the Camel. Who can forget about Humphrey the Camel? Anyway, I've had enough of this stupid hat. Let's move on to the score. Despite some minor flaws, I would say this episode is pretty damn good. The plot is the real winner in this regard, as it flows so nicely. Lots of callbacks to previous things in the story, instead of it just being linear collaboration of jokes. The jokes for the most part are good, Some ruin the realism, but overall, they are good. And what they do with the characters is decent, but nothing groundbreaking. In conclusion, Bart Carny is a solid 7 out of 10. Let's move on to the wheel. Right, so let's spin the wheel. Let's see what we're going to get. So the next episode I will be reviewing is... Ooh. Flanders Ladder.